So this is the Hyundai INSTER. This is Hyundai's take to bring affordable electric motor into the city. Well, what Hyundai have done now is actually quite amazing. It's all about getting as much as you can into such a small, compact, crossover A to B segment car. So the whole point of the INSTER really was to be versatile and affordable. It feels like a little Japanese K car, but it's Korean. Proportions on this, it is remarkable. Can I actually get it through here? I bet you wouldn't be far off. Let's touch on the name first. I thought it was to do with Instagram. Now the name is meant to suggest innovation and intimacy. It's already in Korea, by the way, this car. It came out in 2021 and it's called the Casper, but it has a petrol engine. This is just full electric and it's an upgraded model, the INSTER.
So you get 3 trims with the INSTER: the INSTER 1, which I have today, the INSTER 2 and the INSTER Cross.
You can get this for around about 20 grand now. 23 if you don't include the Hyundai Grant, which is really good. I'll take full advantage of that if you can. You can see why they've gone full electric with this. With the sort of space, you've got no transmission tunnel, which helps, and you'll see how spacious it is inside. And this colour is, even on the entry level, you've got your sensors and your charging port here. You've also got sensors at the top there, embedded into the windscreen. These are daytime running lights, and also you've got your fog lights there as well. And these light up similar to what's on an Ioniq, but they don't brand this as an Ioniq. And the reason being is because it doesn't fit on a Soul-only electric platform. It still has sort of like the Ioniq squared lights. These do open. It automatically opens and shuts to cool the battery as well. Do you get a front boot? No, it's just a motor because it's front wheel drive. So with it being the entry level, I get 15-inch alloy wheels with this. And they remind me of a Mini. Just how small and narrow the wheelbase is. It's quite cool actually. You've got indicator lights, quite a utilitarian compact design here. On the side here, it almost looks like a Jimny, like a Japanese K car on the wheel arches, black plastic cladding. But I love just how robust this car feels and looks. Keyless entry is standard. Door handles are up here for the rear. It's dead easy to get in and out of. But yeah, and you've got these LED rear lights. Looks quite rugged, looks quite cool. They're very small. I quite like the design as well. It's a little funky. Quite a divisive design. It looks like an angry warthog, because these almost look like little tusks. It definitely looks sort of futuristic. You can see how this would be quite big in Korea. The good thing is also, you don't have to opt for the highest trim to get the biggest battery. You can take the entry-level INSTER 1 and add the 49 kilowatt battery for the longest range. So it is quite kitted out for a 20 grandish car. However, let's have a look at here. So the boot, this is it. Versatile. Let's have a look. I mean, this looks pretty... Oh, right, so this does... You get a foldable bed cover, which is cool. You can open that. Do you get a spare? Nope, just a compression kit. Wasn't really expecting much, but this is quite cool. You do get a little parcel shelf and a load cover. These seats fold them all the way down, which is cool. It's cool. And they fold completely flat. Look at that. Boot extends from 238 litres to 350 litres. But in the trim up, you can actually fold the front and the front passenger seats all the way flat as well. So you can actually put a mattress in it, which is cool. You can even nap inside, but not on the INSTER 1, only on the INSTER 2. So there you go. For such a small car, that is incredible. So let's have a look at the interior. Yeah, straight away you'll notice this seat is connected actually as one single part with the cup holders like that, so you don't get an armrest per se. It'd be good if you did here. The interior is quite funky as well. You've got your touchscreen display here, and then you've got a digital driver display. You've got your parking. So these are your gear selectors. Parking, neutral, drive, turn the indicator off. Nice big indicator. That's soft touch indicators as well. You've even got a sensor there just detecting whether you're staring at the road or not. It's quite hard to get on camera how spacious this is. I think if I can shove that all the way over there, maybe you can get a feel of it. Yeah, I mean, that's incredible for such a small car. I'll show you the rear as well. Look how much headroom I've got. I mean, that's incredible, and I'm near 6'2". Airbags there on the side, really big size glove box. Now here you've got a 12 volt socket, you've got a USB-C and a USB-A or USB-B. And yeah, overall the cabin does feel quite plasticky with some hard plastics, but you can tell this is built to a price. But what I do like is these control buttons. They look something like out of an old Toyota Auris. But you can tell these are meant to be for the higher trim. But you've got auto hold, parking, and there's the horrible grey skies outside. You've got air conditioning. You can even use the driver only, so it is dual aircon. You've got your map there, nav. I love these buttons that you can use just dead easy. You're not having to faff with the menu all the time. And look, physical buttons to turn the temperature up and down. Even on the steering wheel you get what's similar to like a Manatino for the driving modes. You've got eco, normal, sport and snow. Inside here you've got some coin, the rails goes quite deep, that slot to put your coins in, and down here you've got an extra slot here. Got some space here to put your knees or your legs, and then here you've even got a hook to put your shopping bag on. So they've really thought of everything. I know it's not impressively high-tech in here, but I feel like they've got the basics. I just wish this touchscreen was a bit more updated. It just seems a little laggy, and also wireless CarPlay you have to up for the higher trim. But let's check out the space in the back. So my seat is in the all the way back position, that's for me. So I'll just see what space is like, even like that. Do you know what? That is incredible. If the seat's pushed all the way back, it's still very surprising how much room there is. It's actually not that bad. But if you just push that a little further back, a little further forward, I think there's plenty of room here, even for two fully grown adults. The only annoying thing is it's only 2 seats. You don't get space for 5. But again, look at this. Heaps of headroom. But yeah, this does feel a little plasticky. And you've got some space there with the door bins, just to put some coins. But yeah, it's quite narrow. Move this forward a bit. So it takes the whole seat with it. So I've moved that back a bit. So yeah, you've got the battery here on the floor. No transmission tunnel coming through here, so you've got a bit of room here. But I could comfortably go on long journeys in the back here. I have got the Insta 1, so this is the smaller 42 kilowatt battery. It's a front wheel drive. Yeah, you're looking at about 203 miles of range, Hyundai claim, but WLTP I'd probably say 150, 160 maybe, it just depends how you drive. So what do I like about the Insta? Straight off the bat, I love how mature the car feels to drive. It feels like I'm driving something way more expensive. An electric car that's affordable in Europe. I mean, look at that, it's even got lane keep assist. It all just feels quite grown up inside it. But yeah, big steering wheel, big leather steering wheel. You've got this really nice front raised bonnet, which almost feels like you're in like a Jeep. But no, when you're outside, you're quite shocked at how small this car is. But then when you're inside, you're shocked at how big it is. Do you know what? It's quite surprising even on these bumps here. And it just takes it in its stride. I've been in bigger cars where it's a lot worse. So you could probably tell with that sort of range, this car isn't designed for intercity travel. It is purpose built really for short narrow roads. But that's not to say you cannot go intercity. I took this from Manchester to Blackpool. You just need to be aware of the charge, because this car is remarkably well suited for the motorway. It feels really mature, it keeps up with all the other cars, it even overtakes well. The sort of mapping on this car, I think what they've been able to do with that really small battery, the way it's mapped, it feels quite responsive. I mean, 0 to 60 in the higher trims, 10 seconds, which I know it's not amazing, but for a car of this size, it's pretty good. But yeah, steering feel, it feels light, but the regen, you've got flappy paddles here on the side, so you can actually customise and turn it into a one pedal mode. So this car can come to a full stop as well if needed. I just prefer you've got driver mode here, you Tino, and you can put it in sport mode. It just livens up the acceleration pedal, nothing really changes, nothing really stiffens up either. I mean, come on, you're not really buying this car for a sport mode, are you? So what things don't I like? Well, probably the range, sort of limited, but again, this is all built towards a price. You can't be looking at a 20 grand car and expecting 400 or 500 miles of range. Infotainment and connectivity really do feel slightly dated. The screen could do with updating. Large turning circle for such a small car, and you've got to turn those speed warnings off. They are just ridiculous sometimes, but I get why they're there. You just go into the screen, it is quite easy actually, you just disable them, but they are set to default to turn on. You've even got this little sensor here that just beeps every 5 seconds. I think the seats are a little bit smaller for my stature. This car probably isn't designed for someone like me. Maybe just someone who lives in the city. Maybe, dare I say it, the elder generation. Yeah, I think for long journeys, I don't think I'd be comfortable in this.
So let's wrap up this video review on the new Hyundai INSTER. Well, it's an interesting little car. It does tick the brief on being a small electric city car that's affordable, practical and versatile. The way in which this car behaves on the road is surprisingly quite sophisticated, and it's dependable. It's just an easy car to live with, it's easy to drive, it's easy to park. It's quite hard not to like some of the features. However, to unpack the full potential of the INSTER, I feel like you do have to opt for the higher INSTER 2 trim, such as the all-fold flat seats. Let us know what you think of the new INSTER. Would you pay nearly £20,000 to £23,000 for this? Let us know in the comment section below. If you do enjoy car content like this, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video on Is It Worth It?